Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Satan and Coffee. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Something's going on with my audio. My audio's this sound seems very low and kind of choppy. What is going on here? So this is what happens when you like update OBS right before a live. They like to fuck with shit, and then you don't know what is what. Let's see here. Turn off the compressor. Maybe that'll help. Turn off the noise gate. Nope, that's not helping. I don't know what's going on here. I do hope that I sound okay to everybody. Hopefully. How is everybody? How you doing? Good morning. Welcome to Satan and Coffee. So today was kind of a bit of a scramble this morning because there's something that is we're going to end up discussing this morning, which I would so prefer not to discuss, but I feel like it needs to be discussed. It needs to kind of be talked about, and it's not something that I really want to talk about, but I feel like I kind of have to. But happy Halloween, Merry Samhain, Samhain, however you want to pronounce it. I know it's Samhain, but it's spelled Samhain. That's always irritated me. It's always irritated me. Like, God damn thing is spelled. It is my favorite holiday of the year. And yes, so today is going to be, we're going to be going down a figure to keep it simple and go down the entire history of Samhain. And other cultures and my personal practice and how I do that, all of those fun things. But before we begin, before we get into that part of the episode of the show, you always know there's something heavy-handed that needs to be discussed, right? So as of late, for those of you that know, I have my newborn son, which is now about 7 days old. And then I have my older son, which is 11 years old. And so my good morning, happy Samhain and Halloween. Seems like we're past the pleasantries. Yeah. We are. A little bit. So my 11-year-old son has it seems to be he's being groomed by someone online, and it's causing a bit of distress. Now I've tried to. Now this person claims to be a child, but you can very easily tell by the way that they speak that they are not a child, and the requests that they are making and the statements that they are making, they are not a child. This is very, very obvious. This is someone that my 11-year-old son has in the video game Roblox. I can't stand that game. I think Roblox is disgusting. And I think that because of the things that they allow on that platform, that game should be completely shut the fuck down. Completely. To be completely honest, it's marketed towards children. There's just disgusting shit on there. Anyway, I've tried reaching out to this person, speaking to this person. Now, because this person says that they're a child, I have one response and one response only to anything that they say to me, and that's, I want to speak to your parents, which obviously hasn't happened. Now, here's the issue. one of the reasons I am very aware that this is not a child is they refuse to send voice notes, pictures, or anything verifiable that they are a child to my son. The conversations that they are having, I have documented. I've gone through his chat history, both on Roblox and on TikTok. And it's rather disgusting. I can't even get into it on YouTube. Like I can't. Like, I mean, if I were to get into the details of this on here, I probably get banned. Just to be completely honest, it's disgusting. It's like I laugh, but it's not funny. I laugh out of pure enragement. He's an 11-year-old kid, right? He's been through a lot. Right? He's had to deal with his mother and I divorcing. He's had to, deal with me being out of the country for almost a year. He's been through his lot in life at 11, and I feel like that this person is taking advantage of it. Now, this person has blocked me, but continues to message his mother, right? And because his mother talks to him like, my son's mother talks to him like this person, like, the potential that this person is an actual child, and it's kind of like, I guess it's easier for this person to kind of try to work her over. And my only response was continually was, I want to speak to your parents. Like, if you are, a child, then I want to speak to your parents, because to put it out there, so my son at 11 is saying that he is gay. I have no problem with that. If that's the case, then that's the case, and he's my son. I love him, and I really don't care about that part. But as a parent, anyone that he gets involved with, I need to know, especially at 11, I need to know who they are, and I need to verify who they are and their age. And some of the comments that are being made about his parents, about us, about him, about us being the problem in his life, and that, he, essentially should cut us off at 11. My son would beg this person for a picture or something, to see this person, and, this person's response was, I will send you one if you send me a picture of you in a furry suit. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I'm sorry, but an 11-year-old doesn't know what that is. It doesn't know what that means, let alone to request it, right? To request that type of stuff from an 11-year-old. So one of the things that I'm going to go off of, this person's TikTok user. So the problem is because they're claiming to be a child, because there's no photo evidence of anything, because there's no voice, there's nothing. Right? Isolation. Exactly. I completely agree. Now, the username that this person's using, now this is bullshit username, right? This isn't, you know what I mean? This account that I'm going to mention is a burner account. It's not going to be a main account, and it's not going to be like, once it starts getting some heat, it's going to disappear. Of this, I'm 100% certain. But on TikTok, they go by guest1337. Now, the problem is there are a lot of accounts that use that monicum, guest1337. There are many accounts that use this. I've done my research here with this, and short of putting my child at risk, hold on a second. I gotta open up TikTok here, and it automatically starts playing video. So sorry if you had to hear that. So his at is at the last guest 133. That's the at of the account. Now that the account has since banned me, or banned me, blocked me, because I just keep asking to speak to his parents, and which I don't think this person has parents, because I don't think it's a child. I do not believe it is a child. Because here's the thing. So my son is 11. And if you look at the way that my son speaks online, the grammar mistakes, the spelling mistakes, the punctuation mistakes, my son writes like an 11-year-old. This person does not write like an 11-year-old. Because this person is very, perfectly formulated, sentences, thoughts, ideas, this person is not a child. So like I said, their at on TikTok is the last guest 133. And again, it's following like a trend of there's a lot of accounts that use the label guest 1337. It's something, I guess, to be related or dealing with TikTok. And I wouldn't be surprised if there is a rabbit hole there that is going to be a rather disgusting one. Yeah, this person is grooming my son, my 11-year-old son, and I've done what I can to try to shut it down, short of taking away all of my son's electronic devices, which is the next step. So it's his direct handle on TikTok is the last guest 133. And the title it uses is guest 1337. And so, yeah, trying to find this person, like, I mean, they have the anonymity, right? They're using a stupid little, looks like a little Lego captain type thing as the profile icon. And the way that I am, yes, I want to keep my son safe, but at the same time, that somebody was able to kind of, do this, I would like to have some type of justice, but I'm also aware that I know that that's probably not going to happen, because they haven't been stupid. They have not been stupid in the things that they've done. This is, like I said, this is a burner account. This thing will disappear tomorrow, and then another one will crop up, right? So the fact that people do this, it's just absolutely disgusting to me. It really is. That they get their kicks like this. I mean, this person has tried to arrange to meet my son to see if, because apparently he wants to meet my son in Texas. So that does tell me that this person is located somewhere in Texas, somewhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because that's where he had suggested that my son go. So that is the most I have as far as like location information. But I wanted to bring this up because I want it to be out there. I want the name to be out there. I want what's happening to be out there. Yeah. I mean, this could be grooming. This could be trafficking. This could be a lot of things. Obviously, yeah, but I would have to put my son in direct line of danger for that because he knows what my kid looks like, and I'm not doing that. I'm not putting my kid in direct line unless I have like full police support. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a public place. And even then, I can't guarantee that this person's working by themselves. This person's very clever. This person is very clever with the way that they do things. There are very specific things that I paid attention to, which tell me that this is not a child. We're not talking about a child. This is not another 11-year-old kid. He has asked my son for all the verifying information that my son is the age that he is, and given my son nothing to verify who he is or how old he is, which almost sounds like building a profile. And that feels more like trafficking than anything else. So yeah, this is deeply concerning. This is a deeply concerning oh yeah, I mean it would be going to Dallas, Fort Worth and stuff like that. And I'm sorry like another problem with this is like, I know if like I was working with the police wouldn't let me be there you go. And yeah, I'm just my brain is racking on what can be done. Again, like I said, this person blocked me pretty quick. And again, I am one of those people that I do believe that when with predators, predators do look at the father first. Like, is the father a threat? And I find it very interesting that this person blocks me, but continues to talk to my son's mother, and continues to talk to my son, but blocks me. I don't know if this person thinks that by blocking me, I'm just gonna give up and stop. This person obviously knows that I have a platform, knows that there are people that are following, knows that, I can get external individuals involved. But again, like I said, it's a burner account. And if I'm going to be completely honest, like I said, I mean, it feels like trafficking. Like it's predatory, obviously, like regardless, but it feels more like trafficking than just like a pedo. Because it feels like this person's trying to build a profile on my kid, asking for videos, asking for photos, asking for voice notes, verification that, of his age, things like that. And that sounds like almost like building kind of like a profile for people to, to look at. So I just wanted to bring this up because it's gotten to a point where I need help with it. Like, because it's not just my kid. I promise you, it's not just going to be my kid. I go on this, person's, follow list and stuff. So, there's other kids on there. That this person's following. There's multiple accounts that use the guest 1337 thing. I have no idea what that is reference to. I'm pretty sure it's a Roblox reference. But yeah, it's deeply concerning, worrying. I'm going to do everything on my end as a parent to obviously protect my kid. But the issue here is these types of things don't stop with my kid, does it? Right? It doesn't stop with my kid. It'll go on to other people's kids. It'll go. And then, maybe he's, obviously not successful with my kid, but then you have to figure who's this person going to be successful with? Right? How many kids are going to be in danger because of this person? who's he actually going to be successful with if this is a trafficking operation, right? How many kids is this person going to be able to get their hands on that, you know, have parents that pay less attention to what their kids are doing until something actually happens, right? And so for me, it's not a question of, you know, you know, just my situation, but the bigger picture, right? And this person's not stupid, right? So things like To Catch a Predator and stuff like that, or like I watch a lot of these programs on YouTube, like was it Skeet Jensen or whatever it is, Skeeter Jensen. The problem is these guys catch idiots. They're still dangerous. Don't misunderstand me. They're still dangerous. But these guys are idiots, right? Like, because these guys go in, start sending pictures, they start, saying actually how old they are, they give you all of their information, where they work, all of this stuff in these chats. You could come to you. It's amazing. Just gotta get the exactly. And so the reason why stuff like this worries me more is because these are the not stupid ones. These are the ones that they don't send pictures. They don't send voice notes. They don't admit to how old they are. Right? They essentially play it off, they're a kid. There is explicit conversation, but not overly explicit. And conversations that an 11-year-old should not be having. Requests being made that an 11-year-old should never be asking from this person to my son. That an 11-year-old, as far as I am aware, would not know or understand what this thing is. And so this is what makes me feel like it's more of kind of like a surface level attempt to build a profile, and feels more like trafficking than it feels like just straight, I can't even use the word anymore. Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, I've reached out to the local cyber crimes area and give them screenshots of everything that I've got. With the little information that I have, and this is the thing. And I'm sure that this person's sitting there fucking stroking it, with me sitting there saying that they're being very intelligent with this, and I'm certain that this person, is still kind of keeping tabs on what it is that I'm doing and what it is that I'm saying. And I think the only thing I can say is, like, if the police get to you before I do, you will be lucky. That is all I'm going to say. If the police find you before I do, then somebody is watching over you. That's all I can say. Because I don't quit. I don't stop. I keep going. And I will always continue and persevere. So you picked the wrong one to fuck with. You picked the wrong one to fuck with. And I'm not going to incriminate myself online. I'm not going to do that, but just know that. Just know that, because I know you're listening. I know you're watching. You might not be here live, but I know eventually you're going to see this because you know who I am. Um, I don't stop. I won't stop. So, you know, everyone somewhere down the line slips up and messes up. But I wanted to bring it to the community's attention, tell the community what's going on, because it is something that is no, my kid, my 11-year-old kid, this Samael, this person is grooming my child. Um, so yeah, just understand, because I know you're watching this, I know you're listening. Just understand this: there's not a corner on this planet that you'll be able to hide. I want you to fully understand. I want you to integrate that idea into your mind. I want you to assimilate that into your very fucking being. I want you to understand the greatest depth that the human mind can possibly begin to fathom. There is nowhere, anywhere on this planet that you will be able to hide from me. And it's not a threat, that's a promise. And if anyone, what everyone can tell you about Adius is when Adius makes a promise, Adius never breaks a promise. And I have made it my life's mission these last 39 years to have never, ever broken a promise. So, let yourself sit and think about that one. Okay, so anyway. Oh, Succubus, I struggle to know if you're being sarcastic or like trying to make light of the situation, but it is most definitely not a situation to make light of, and I really don't care where this person is, who this person is, or where they are. Travel, it's not that expensive, it's not that difficult, it's not that hard. I don't care what nationality they are. I don't care if they're Afghani. Like, but the problem thing is I know that they're not. I know that they're not Nigerian. I know that they're not Afghani. I know that they're not in some other remote part of the world. I happen to know for a fact that this person is located relatively close to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So, there's that. So there's that. Anyway, so let's get into what the actual episode is supposed to be about. I do apologize for the melodrama, but it is something that I did want to put out there for you guys to be aware of what's going on, what's happening. I do ask you guys not to, you know, if you guys want to monitor the account, you can monitor the account. I ask you not to say anything to the account or blow it up because I don't want to risk it going anywhere. Because as of right now, that is, you know, the only line of communication to this person that exists currently outside of Roblox. So, but yeah, it's you know, yeah, yeah. I mean, I have been outwardly spoken against Roblox for forever. I think Roblox is a fucking cesspool because I mean it's they all the way down to they protect people. You know what I mean? Um, so so I understand that any online communication is international, succubus. Any online communication is international. But there is a reason why this person wanted to set up a meeting with my child in Dallas, in Texas. So the thing is a predator isn't going to ask a child to go someplace to meet them there, to not be there, or if they weren't close to that area, right? So when it comes to situations like this, usually speaking, they're within 100-mile radius, usually speaking. So whoever this person is, I can be guaranteed that they are within a 100, almost guaranteed that they're within a 100-mile radius of Dallas. Right? So anyway, I do want to talk about what the topic is today, and not spend the entire episode talking about that because it's starting to piss me off, and I do not want to start my day that way. See, this is the thing though. Is he's never actually spoken. It's always been text. It's always text. It's never voice chat. It's never voice chat. It's only texting, and it's primarily through TikTok, not through Roblox. Like the initial conversation started in Roblox and then moved over to TikTok. And if there's anything, this person also got my son to download and start using Snapchat, which has been removed from his phone. So there has been a certain level of communication, you know, between this person and my child on Snapchat, which is painful because Snapchat doesn't save anything. So, but that has been removed from his phone. An 11-year-old child should not be using Snapchat. So I know that those are the three fields of communication. The initial communication started in Roblox, then it moved over to TikTok, then from TikTok it moved over to Snapchat. And that progression tells me that as the conversations progressed and as the conversations move forward, going into Snapchat, there was probably things that were significantly more explicit discussed on Snapchat, because Snapchat is, you send something, you open it, and it disappears. So there's that. I also know that within the same time period, my son had created a Telegram account as well. So there's a lot surrounding this that raises a lot of red flags. So especially specifically between Snapchat and Telegram, because both of them allow you to completely decimate and have conversations disappear. There is no reason why an 11-year-old child should be wanting to get on Telegram or Snapchat, but he has an account for both. Why would my 11-year-old son even know what Snapchat and Telegram is? Because there are a very specific type of people that use those platforms. Not everybody. Not everybody. I know that most of my family uses Telegram for communication instead of WhatsApp, but we're in Mexico. My son lives in Mexico, and Mexico uses WhatsApp, not Telegram and not Snapchat. Most people here don't bother with that. Max can ban every account makes with ID card, but yeah, he might be that dumb. Yeah, I don't think this person is. You see it in court documents. There you go. So yeah, I mean, I'm very well versed on, you know, online communication platforms, and the risks involved in all of them. I mean, when you have kids, I mean, you kind of have to be. You know, I investigate very deeply, you know, all of these, you know, things, and, you know, the risks involved and what people are using them for, and things of that nature. So, you know, it just kind of is what it is. But I do want to spend a little bit of time here, guys, talking about the topic of the day. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, we are in my favorite season. I love Halloween. Halloween is my favorite holiday of the entire year. You guys are wondering what I'm drinking. I am drinking iced pumpkin spiced coffee. Because why not? Because today's the 31st. I bought so much pumpkin spice flavored shit from the store yesterday. It's ridiculous. I have 3 creamers, a powdered creamer, flavored coffee, like the whole nine, to kind of extend my pumpkin spice season. What I did want to talk about today is, thank you, Samael, thank you. I did want to talk about Samhain. We briefly kind of talked about it the other day. We briefly spoke about, you know, the history of Samhain, and I kind of wanted to go into a little bit more detail with that. And so we know that it is, you know, from what we talked about before, we know that it's, you know, it's a Gaelic festival, right? It's marking the harvest season, beginning of winter, or the darker half. You know, the etymology here is, it was originally November 1st in the Celtic calendar. Celebrations begin the evening of October 31st, since the day began at sunset, right? Midday between the autumnal equinox and the winter solstice, or midway, sorry, not midday. A threshold when the normal order is suspended. Right? So we kind of look at summer, winter, like, so the light half to the dark half, right? So is kind of like that transition period, right? And the belief has always been that the boundary between the living and the dead, this world and the other world, as some say, is the thinnest spirits can pass through. And so obviously traditions here were bonfires, feasts, offerings, divination, right? Costumes, guisings, so to speak, right? So at Samhain, the world of the gods was believed to be made visible to humankind. It was a time fraught with danger, charged with fear, and full of supernatural episodes. Okay, and that's quoted from the Encyclopaedia Britannica. But let's widen it out a little bit, right? So this threshold moment is not unique to the Celts, though, right? And Mexico has their own Dia de los Muertos, which I think I have a lot of respect for Dia de los Muertos, because Dia de los Muertos has maintained its traditional lens, right? Its focus, right? It hasn't changed much since it was taken up here in Mexico. It hasn't turned into a commercial venture for candy companies, though commercial venture nonetheless for other types of companies. But the ofrendas, the offerings, the altars, right? So the altars are actually called ofrendas, and then you have the offerings that you actually give to your ancestors. You would put pictures, you would set up so it's like almost a step ladder kind of thing, and you can have a whole altar to one person, or each ladder is for a specific person. So you would put the picture of a person, of an ancestor, on each step of the ladder going up the run, and then offerings on each level for that individual, for that person. And I just love how it's kept its traditional nature. In the Isle of Man, which is technically England, I have a friend that actually lives on the Isle of Man, a streamer friend of mine. They celebrate Haptuna, derived from Samhain tradition. Turnips are carved, children visit houses, singing and things like that. So it has its own kind of, history and tradition to it, which I found very interesting. Other festivals, you've got, China's Hungry Ghost Festival, or the Philippines, Pang-ang Alula. I know I butchered that, and I apologize. And it's also, just further examples of, the thinning veil concept. Both, China, the Philippines, Japan has their own. Most cultures around the world for this time of year have one consistent idea for this time of year. And that it is that the veil is thinnest and ancestor work is best performed at this time. One thing I'm beginning to notice with Samhain, with Halloween specifically, is that American tradition is actually kind of starting to kind of get out there, Mexican American Dia de los Muertos has always been so important. Even as I moved away from the church, it seemed to be more important, actually, in my practice. Yeah, Dia de los Muertos is... so the best way to experience Dia de los Muertos, I've done this a couple of times, is going to, a small village, a small town, and, bearing witness to how it's celebrated. And the Panteones. Panteon is just the cemetery here in Mexico. And you can't take pictures. People try. I mean, I guess you can, but local people get pissed. So I have respect for local people, and they request that you don't take pictures or video or anything like that, because the idea is that you can trap their ancestors in the pictures. So if you start taking pictures of altars and stuff like that, you can stop their ancestors from being able to cross back over after the festival is over by taking a picture. So they request that you don't take a picture. And so I've never taken any pictures when I've gone to go visit these things. And it's opportunity to, I think, to kind of like let go of kind of like the obsession of, digital media and trying to turn everything into a digital, version of itself. And it allows you to really be in the moment and really kind of enjoy, the experience, of speaking with these people and, seeing, the tradition happen firsthand. So I've never taken any pictures of any of the festivals or any of the ofrendas that I've seen in these places unless I'm explicitly told that I can. And I'll ask, like, here in the cities, like you go into Guadalajara, you go into Mexico City, things like that. I mean, most of the time they have, public displays that they do allow you to take pictures of and show. But when you go to the real shit, they don't want you taking pictures of it. It's a really good coffee, by the way. So we're always in transition, right? We're always in a state of transition. We're always going from one part of ourselves to another, one aspect to another. And Halloween, Samhain marks that transition. It's the most visible marking of a transition that we go through. All the way down to like even like emotional transitions, like there are people that suffer depression in the wintertime. There are people that are happier in the wintertime. The only time I like snow is on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. That is it. If it could only snow those days, I would be happy. I come from upstate New York, and we get lake effect snow. And if you don't know anything about lake effect snow, it is heavy, 8 to 10 feet of snow. And when you're shoveling a gravel driveway, you inevitably pick up 20, 30 pounds of stone every time you're shoveling the driveway. It is not fun. It is not fun. And then the way upstate New York works, it stays cold until about the beginning of May. So, even like mid-May, like there's still been snowstorms at like, the first couple of weeks of May in the past. I particularly remember one year that it got so bad, the snow in about January, February, it was so cold that the power lines froze and they broke, and they had to cancel school for like 3 weeks. If you don't participate in Dia Muertos, you can go for a walk in a cemetery celebrating the life left there. Pick up trash. Yeah, I would say that's even like that's an amazing thing to do. I've witnessed it happen. I can't say that I celebrate it directly. I just but I do appreciate the tradition. And I suppose like for me, like I'm definitely more a proponent for Samhain. It's just what I grew up with, but for me, Samhain is the 30th to the 2nd, right? So it's that span of time. Like Samhain isn't just a day. I think it's like a time frame, and so I look at it from the 30th to the 2nd of November, that 4-day period, to being the window of Samhain, and I celebrate Samhain not just today, but the 30th, the 31st, the 1st, and the 2nd. Now, some of like my personal practices with it, I've honestly, like I've really just kind of recently kind of dived into ancestor work and in a deep way. the last few years, especially after the passing of my father. And the day that he had passed, I've told this story a couple of times. The evening that he had passed, maybe about an hour after he had passed, I was laying in this chair, this very chair, in another house. And, I was kind of sleeping in the chair because I was doing English classes at the time for a couple of companies based out of the Ukraine and Russia. And so the time difference was crazy, right? Nice. That's awesome. And something woke me up, and what woke me up is I heard a voice, and I swear it was my dad's voice say my name, and it woke me up. And it was like maybe a few hours later that, my mother had called and said what the time that he had passed, and that she was there and present with him when he passed away. And I remember looking at the clock and remember the time that I had heard his voice, and it was only maybe about an hour and a half after he had passed. And I honestly don't believe that there's anything anyone could say that convinced me that wasn't him. I don't believe in coincidences. I really don't. And so from that point forward, that has really kind of pushed me into kind of like ancestral work and communing with my ancestors, as best as I can. And again, like when it comes to celebrating Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, if you guys, if it's something you're interested in and you have the opportunity to do it, I say definitely do it. I honestly, I just don't think I have the space for an ofrenda on my altar. So I just kind of I use my altar as like multi-use, right? So I don't have multiple altars, I have one. And so depending on what I'm doing with my altar at the time, I will set it up specifically for that use case, and then use it for a few days in that use case. I also have, the ritual flags that Dyra and I sell on the website. We have a few of those, and I use those depending on, who it is that I'm working with or who it is that I'm calling on. I also have picture frames that have sigils in them. And, sometimes I just if I'm not doing any specific working, I always have kind of like the sigil of Baphomet, from the Church of Satan as my main sigil on the wall. Which, believe it or not, is a rug from Killstar. It was big enough. It was nicely made. They don't sell it anymore, so I'm very glad that I have it. And it's still in very good condition. And that is what is always on my wall where my altar is. It's never touched the floor. It's never been on the floor. It's a rug, but it's never been on the floor. And I'm always paranoid because I have candles kind of burning around it, and it's got rug fibers, right? So I'm just kind of I never leave candles burning around this thing. So yeah, so that's what I do with my work is I will, if I'm going to be working with my ancestors, if there's this, I will grab people that were close to me, and I will set pictures of them on the altar without any of the other sigils and focus on that. I have a statue that I use for the death current on my altar. That is always on my altar. That never moves. It has actually replaced my Baphomet statue. Well, because I haven't really gotten a Baphomet statue for here yet. But I went to una tienda esotérica en el centro, aquí en Guadalajara, and they had this statue that just really kind of just spoke to me. And what I love about these stores is everything's handmade. Like, so when you go to these esoteric shops here in Mexico, like everything's handmade. Like they don't buy from like commercial producers. Like it's not like a esoteric shop like in the States, like that I can remember, right? Where, like they buy like the popular stuff that everybody's buying online and have physical versions of it there at the store or whatever. Like these are all unique pieces that are like handmade, um, by people that actually practice, not by a machine that, pumps this shit out. And you can always tell it's handmade. So here's I'll give you an example. So I bought this little baby Baphomet statue from, I mean, it kind of chipped off the top here a little bit of um, the flame at the top. But so this is one of the statues that I bought at one of these esoteric shops. And so the thing is like when you look at it, you can tell, you can see the detail work on this, right, is all hand done. Like that is hand made. Like it starts with kind of like a mold, a general mold, and you can kind of see how like at the bottom looks, right? And you can see like that's the molding part right there. So that's where the what they call the hule, the rubber thing goes inside. But then if you look at the details on, for example, the feathering and the fur here, that's all hand done, right? That's all hand done. And yeah, I just think like all of this stuff that's like this stuff that's handmade is just, you know, there's something else that goes into this. You know what I mean? Um, and I just love it. I absolutely love it. And so yes, baby Baphomet hangs out here at the desk with me on top of my subwoofer. Um, and so yeah, that is, you know, what like here. I think the advantage of living in Mexico is that like you don't get this stuff, um, anywhere else. You just don't. You know. Um, so, uh, yeah. Does he dance on the subwoofer? I'm sure if I turned it up loud enough, he probably would. um, but yeah, it's Halloween for me all year round. Like, I mean, this is like one of my favorite little pieces. I mean, this is a commercial piece. I think this is I think this is from fucking Walmart, I think. But I love this fucking thing. Like I love this. Like it's like an all year round jack-o'-lantern. Like I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um like I mean it's just it is, my season. I love this. I love this season so much. And I'm sorry that like today's episode has been so weird and so off. It's just like, the opening conversation, for today's episode is kind of taking the gas out of me, I suppose, for what I really wanted to go over today. But I do appreciate you guys listening. I hopefully I don't have to, make another episode like this again. You know, uh, I think that whatever we can do, during Samhain, to reconnect to ourselves, to reconnect to our ancestors, to revisit the year. uh, Mary Samhain, Curtis. Good to see you. Good to see you. Curtis and I are actually going to be doing another episode here soon. I guess focusing on Jesus. So I mean that's going to be more, his bag. But I have my opinions. So you might actually see him and I disagree on something fervently. Also, Curtis has agreed to write the foreword for my book, The Book of Baphomet, Conversations with the Horned One. He currently has the document, and I just sent it to him yesterday, so don't expect anything to happen like quick. But He has agreed to write the foreword for the book. So, also, guys, like with the Book of Baphomet, I have decided, like, so most publishers want there to be a certain word count, a certain amount of pages worth of content. I've done everything I can to try to get this thing even remotely close to 100 pages. I just can't. I just can't. It's about 70 pages long, and I don't think it needs to be any longer than that. You know, I've been struggling with trying to wrote. Oh, okay. Damn, you quick. So, you know, I'm not going to try to fill the book up with useless fluff that doesn't mean anything. It is a grimoire that reads like field notes for my work with Baphomet. And it's something that I wanted to share with everybody, and it is going to be, I'm probably going to have to go the self-publishing route. If I can find a publisher, great. I'm going to kind of send it off to some other places that I'm looking at, see what happens. You know, there was a hope of Llewellyn, but that's not going to happen now. So it's either the most likely scenarios it's going to be self-published, probably through Amazon, just to make sure that everybody has access to it. Melvin from Unexplained Possibilities has the more profitable to self-publish, bro. Okay, cool. You know, Melvin from Unexplained Possibilities also has a copy of it. He is going to do a review on it. And the one thing I trust about Melvin is he's going to be brutally honest about the quality of the book. Curtis, you know, I didn't actually ask you. Did you read the book at all? Did you read any of it yet? Are you like, what are your thoughts on it? If you have any thoughts on it for the people in the chat. Publishing to be the future. I always dislike the idea of asking for permission to publish your own book. Fair enough. I mean, I guess I suppose it's like, you know, wanting to go through a publisher is like the same thing as like being a musician and getting signed to a label. It's almost like a validation that your material is good enough for a company that focuses on doing this, you know, as, you know, their lifeblood, sees the quality in your work and wants to push it out. And it's almost like a validation to not just the author, but to the readers, that, like, if, you know, this person is, you know, good enough for this publisher to publish this material, then, you know, there's something of substantial there. Oh, okay. Cool. Likely 7 days. Let's see. Oh, what the fuck? So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to, you know, what Curtis is gonna, you know, add to the book. You know, I'm excited for it. So most likely self-publishing through Amazon, just so that way the more people have access to it. Also, guys, I've been struggling to find a place to make the tarot cards. Like, so the tarot card design, or the Oracle deck rather. So I designed an entire Oracle deck that's supposed to be supposed to accompany the book. But I can't find a place that does print on demand Oracle decks. So yeah. Once I find that, then I will run the Oracle deck through, because I don't think it's realistic to go get, you know, a bunch of these decks produced and then, you know, sell them and ship them, because I think it's just gonna be more expensive. So I'm looking for a print on demand service for cards, which is kind of tough. Anyway, guys, I am gonna have to cut it right there because I have to go to work. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for listening, guys. You guys are fucking amazing. Curtis, I look forward to that review. And Mary Samhain. And as always, hail thy fucking self. I'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out, everybody. All right, you guys take care.